Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is also Chris, and this is MMA for you. We're going to be doing our predictions for UFC 167, St-Pierre versus Hendricks, which happens on November 16th. Before we get into that, we'd like to promote Q's Lounge.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to Rexy, Q's Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
We always show the UFC fights, and we never charge a cover. So swing on by. Yep. Thank you for the.
So what do you think about this card, man?
To be honest with you, I'm really excited about this GSP versus Hendricks fight.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, GSP is not my favorite fighter, and so I'm really hoping that he gets knocked out by Jimi Hendricks, and I think Hendricks might be the man who could actually pull that off. So actually probably for me the most anticipated fight for the rest of this year. I mean, there's only a couple months left, but this fight, and then the Anderson Silva 2 fight. So I'm pretty excited, man.
Yeah, overall the card is great. The undercard's really good too. You got Cowboy Cerrone versus Dunham. Stories on the undercard. Sergio's Pettis makes his UFC debut. So the undercard's good. The main card, you got Koscheck, Woodley, Rory, MacDonald, Lawler, Evans, Sonnen. You got a flyweight fight. It's nice to see the little guys get main card billing as well. 2 up-and-comers in the flyweight division. So, overall, I am just very impressed with this card. Why don't we get on with it, huh?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, Johny Big Rig Hendricks fights GSP George St-Pierre. Who do you got, man? I know you're not. Yeah, I know your favorite fighter is George St-Pierre, but
who do you got?
I got George St-Pierre, man. His game is just, some of the best in the business. I mean, his wrestling's really good. He's one of the top, consensus top 1 or 2 pound for pound best fighters in MMA right now. Integrates all aspects of MMA, probably the best: striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. He's well-rounded in all areas of the game. Strong ground and pound as well. Wrestling, kickboxing, uses the jet. I mean, just everything, man. I think he's on an 11-fight win streak. Training out of TriStar. I just got to go with St-Pierre here. How about you?
GSP, I think he's the most boring fighter on the planet. You know what? I'm going with Johny Hendricks. 15-1. He's on a 6-fight win streak. Trains with Team Takedown. Strong left hand. We all know he's got 1 punch KO power. Strong wrestling. Good ground and pound. Cardio is a little bit questionable, but you know what? If anyone's gonna take out GSP, I think this is the man to do it.
Stylistically, it's an interesting matchup. You got a guy who has 1 punch knockout power and a very good wrestler. His pedigree. I mean, NCAA, All-American, Division I, he's got it all, I mean, if this guy didn't go into MMA, Hendricks, he was actually probably scouted for the Olympic team, I mean, he was that good at wrestling.
Who's on the Olympic team?
Well,
for wrestling, you mean? Or?
For wrestling, Olympic.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if he didn't go into MMA, he would probably... be scouted for the Olympic team. I mean, this guy, and once again, his left hand is devastating. I mean, he's taken out John Fitch, Martin Kampman, among other fighters with that left hand. 1 punch KO. With that type of wrestling, it's a tough challenge for GSP. I got GSP. You got Hendricks. Yep. Interesting fight for sure.
Hell yeah.
Okay, next fight after that, Rashad Evans fights Chael Sonnen. Man, Chael's kind of on a resurgence, coming off that big win over Shogun. Went back to 205. Really strong wrestler. He's relentless about getting those takedowns, man. His clinch is good. Always pushing forward. Got a good chin. He uses a stay busy ground and pound. underrated offensive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His takedown, his submission defense sucks. But he's fighting Rashad Evans, man. What do you know about Mr. Evans here?
What do I know about Mr. Evans?
Yeah.
I know that he trains with the Brazilians. He's a former light heavyweight champion. Has strong wrestling, strong clinch, strong top control, good ground and pound, good boxing. Personally, I love this matchup. This is kind of, the more I think about this matchup, the more it intrigues me. The more, this is a great fight.
Yeah.
This is. I don't know who put this matchup together, but man, this is gonna be a heck of a fight. I haven't even had a chance to check Vegas, odds on this, so I don't know what the odds are. I'm probably gonna do that right now, but man, I'm really liking this, and so if you give me a second, I'm gonna finalize my decision. But who do you got?
You know what, man? I got Rashad Evans. One of the factors in this fight that I actually do find interesting, though, is that they're friends. I mean, these guys are legit friends. They do broadcasting together. They do a lot of UFC shows together.
They're really close?
I'm pretty sure they are legit friends.
That's freaking awesome.
And they're both wrestlers, too. It's very interesting that whose game is going to be imposed upon. I do feel that Rashad Evans is probably the better boxer and has the better stand-up than Chael. Chael is just relentless about getting those takedowns, and he is just a monster on top. He's always busy on top as well, so he really tries to avoid those referee stand-ups. But, like I said, I think Rashad has a combination of the wrestling and the stand-up to be able to beat Chael. Did you find out those odds, man?
Yeah, I did. Rashad's coming in at negative 175, which means that he's almost a 2-1 favorite. And so, Vegas is liking Rashad on this in this particular matchup. And, I'm going to have to agree with Vegas on this one. So, but nonetheless, I don't think it takes anything away from the actual, competitive match. And I'm super excited about this. It's hard for me to put into words.
Nice, man. Okay. Next fight after that at 170, we have ruthless Robbie Lawler versus Rory MacDonald. Lawler, man, talk about a career resurgence. When he came back to the UFC, I don't think many people expected him to beat Josh Koscheck. Knocked him out in the first round, man. But Rory MacDonald is one of the brightest up-and-comers in the UFC. Very interesting matchup. Who do you got, man?
I got Rory MacDonald. He's on a 5-fight win streak. Trains at TriStar. Good jab, good kickboxing. Pretty big for 170. Good wrestling, strong ground and pound. And, I don't know. I think he's just got an edge on him.
Yeah, 15-1 record, 6 wins by KO TKO, 6 wins by sub. He's 24 years old. Robbie Lawler's got the experience, though. He's a 20-9 record with 1 no contest. One thing to note, out of his 20 wins, 18 of them are by KO or TKO. Out of his 9 losses, 5 of them are by submission. He's 31 years old on a 2-fight win streak, training out of ATT these days. Heavy-handed guy, good kickboxer. He actually has some good takedown defense with some weak submission defense. However, like you said, Rory Mac, this guy's just young, up and coming, good everywhere, pretty much. Hungry. I mean, his last fight was just a really bad jab fest against Jake Ellenberger. It's a smart strategy, not the most aesthetically pleasing. Nonetheless, I think Rory MacDonald takes this as well. Okay, next fight is that. 2 wrestlers again as Josh Koscheck fights Tyron Woodley. Interesting matchup here. Koscheck's been in the UFC for a while now. 17-7 record. 5 wins by KO TKO. 5 wins by sub. 2 losses by KO TKO. He's 35 years old, so he's getting up there in age. And he's actually on a 2-fight losing streak, believe it or not. I mean, he lost to, I believe it was Hendricks, then Robbie Lawler, if I'm not mistaken. We all know that Koscheck's a strong wrestler with good takedown defense. His top control's good. His ground and pound's good. His chin's pretty good. His striking's average in the sense that he's really over-reliant on that overhand right. And he's notorious for eye pokes.
You're talking about Woodley, right?
I'm talking about Josh Koscheck, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can read your own thing,
Yeah,
man.
no, I'm just... They both have good overhand rights, it looks like.
Yeah, they both utilize that overhand right. And actually, it was the overhand right that beat Jay Herman for Tyron Woodley. He used the overhand right to knock out Jay Herman. And he even dropped Nate Marquardt in the Strikeforce title fight with an overhand right as well. Yeah, man. What do you know about Woodley, man?
I know quite a bit about him. He trains at ATT Evolution. He's got strong wrestling, good clinch, grinder, average boxing, and very similar to Koscheck, uses that overhand right, very effectively. Good ground game, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, I mean, and he's got a good record too, 11-2. I mean,
yeah, 31 years old. He's 4 years younger than Koscheck.
And he's 4 years younger, but I'm going with Josh Koscheck. I personally, I used to have a little bit of some qualms with Koscheck. That he's kind of arrogant, kind of juvenile, immature. But I mean, I've just grown to like him as a fighter, and I mean, this is a prediction show, so I try to be objective and everything. So I'm going with Josh Koscheck.
Cool, man. Yeah, I think that Tyron Woodley kind of has a youth on his side. Well, I mean, he's not the youngest. He's not in his 20s or anything, but he's younger than Koscheck. I'm going to go with Tyron Woodley to win this one.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
You do that.
Yep. Okay, next fight after that, Timothy Elliott fights Ali Bagautinov. Bagautinov. Sambo specialist, actually, man.
Kind of like Fedor?
I mean, he's got heavy hands, that's for sure. With Bagautinov, he has an 11-2 record, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He's 28 years old on a 9-fight win streak. Trains at Fight Night's team. Other notable fighters that train out of there would be Bellator's Vitaly Minakov. He's got a Sambo background with strong takedowns. Good boxing and heavy hands. He knocked out Vina in his last fight, and Vina is a very large 125er. Tim Elliott though is coming off that win over Luis Godinho, man. Man, what do you know about Tim Elliott, man? He's a
I know that
fighter.
His name is a lot easier to pronounce than your guy.
Yeah.
He's on a 2-fight win streak. Unorthodox striking, not technically sound. Good wrestling, pushes forward, very aggressive. Good ground and pound. I mean, the notes here say that he's not technically sound. I mean, does he just swing for the fences? What?
I mean,
that's not a good description to have next to your name.
He's not technical. Like, his stand-up is, quite honestly, kind of sloppy. He throws awkward kicks. His punches aren't technically sound. He makes up for it. He's a guy that makes up for his technical deficiencies by being very aggressive.
Just pure aggression, ground and pound?
Yeah, and pushing forward. He's kind of unorthodox. He'll actually do, like, jumping, spinning strikes. If you ever watch this fight with John Dodson, for example. Yeah, but despite all that, he is a good fighter. It's just he's not the most technically sound guy, but like I said, makes up for it with aggression. Despite all that, man, I personally got to go with Ali Bagautinov to win this one.
I'm going with Tim Elliott.
Tim Elliott.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on to the prelims, which will be on Fox Sports 1. We have Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Evan Dunham. The battle of the slow starters. No, seriously, they're both notorious slow starters. Like, in a good amount of their fights, they tend to lose the first round because they're just really slow starters. Evan Dunham, 14-4 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. He's 31 years old, training out of Extreme Couture. Strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, good wrestler, good kickboxer, but he does tend to brawl. And his overall defense is not very good. This guy gets hit a lot and often. You know Cowboy Cerrone. Why don't you tell me about him?
I love Cowboy Cerrone. He's one of my favorite fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Trains at Jackson's. Strong kickboxing. Strong kicks. Good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Good off his back. I guess you mentioned that he's a slow starter, but I don't know. I mean, I don't really see that as much of a weakness. I'm going with Cowboy. I love watching Donald Cerrone fight. I mean, I don't know. He's one of the best fighters in my eyes.
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with Donald Cerrone to win this one, too. One thing that's going to be really interesting to note is that Donald Cerrone has actually been talking about cutting down to 145. Hopefully off a win. Hopefully off a win over Dunham, you know. So that should be really interesting, you know. He's actually needed to see a sports psychologist as of late. So I got to wonder about his mental game coming in.
A Cowboy?
Yeah.
Has some mental issues?
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting how much that factors into the fight. You kind of see it in his performance. You saw it against Rafael dos Anjos, who Rafael dos Anjos actually beat both Evan Dunham and Donald Cerrone, and that was their most recent fights against Rafael dos Anjos. So interesting parallel there, actually. But yeah, we both got Donald Cerrone to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Herman fights Thales Leites. Thales Leites is a 32 years old, 4-fight win streak, training out of Nova União. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with some good takedowns, average striking, and questionable cardio. In his last fight against Tom Watson, you can really see it too. Gotta wonder if he's wiping on some of that TRT as well. No joke. He looked
big?
He looked big, which is very unlike him because he used to be just tall and lanky.
Yeah.
Now he just looks so tall and kind of big, which was, and he was fighting in Brazil, so you gotta kind of question if he was,
Are they drug testing him?
Well, it's Brazil, so.
So they don't?
I don't know if they.
I mean, do these rules vary from country to country, or? No,
it's just that some areas are more strict about, are more stringent about their testing and other stuff than others. Like, a lot of people can get away with stuff in Texas, for example, but wouldn't be able to get away with stuff in New Jersey because they have better commissions.
Okay.
And Brazil doesn't really have a commission.
Sure. So, you're going with Thales?
I'll go with Thales.
I'm going with Thales because he's the better fighter, and he's on the juice. I mean, yeah, how could you lose?
Yeah, I mean, Ed Herman's a good fighter. 21-9 record with 1 no contest, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 13 wins by sub. He also has 6 losses by sub, 33 years old. He's pretty good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu himself. He has a good chin. His takedowns are pretty good. Average striker. I think overall, though, Thales is the better fighter. Okay, next fight after that, Brian Ebersole fights Rick the Horror Story. Interesting fight here, man. Brian Ebersole, he last fought in July 2012, and that was a loss against James Head, you know. Unorthodox striking, you know, this is one of the few guys that's actually won fights with a cartwheel kick. He's a good wrestler with some good ground and pound, and really experienced, as his record is 50 wins, 15 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest. However, he's fighting Rick the Horror Story, 15-7 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He's 29 years old, trading wins and losses at this moment, as his last loss is against Mike Pyle. So if his narrative is to be believed, he's going to come off a win here, you know. Super aggressive guy, pushes forward, he overwhelms his opponents, got a good chin. His striking's kind of average because he tends to brawl. Good offensive wrestling, weak takedown defense. I think everyone that Rick Story's fought has taken him down, but he's big for 170. Who do you got to win this one?
I'm going with Ebersole via takedown and, you know, just getting fish on the ground.
Cool. I'll go with Rick Story to win this one.
You do that.
Yep. Okay. And next one after that, we have Edwin Figueroa versus Erik Perez. Tough one to call. Both these guys tend to want to strike. Figueroa has a 9-3 record with 6 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. 29 years old on a 2-fight losing streak. He's a good kickboxer with some heavy hands. submission defense is really good, and he's getting into scramble. But he does give up his back a lot. That is one of his biggest weaknesses on the ground. Erik Perez has a 13-5 record with 4 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. 23 years old, training out of Jackson's. He's got a good chin. He's kind of a brawler himself, but his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is solid. I'm going with Erik Perez to win this one. How about you?
I'm going with Edwin Figueroa.
Okay. On to the prelims, which will be on like Facebook and other sites like that. YouTube, MMA Junkie has it as well. We got Jason High versus UFC newcomer Anthony Lapsley. Okay. Anthony Lapsley has a 22-5 record with 2 no contests, 3 wins by KO or TKO, and out of his 22 wins, 15 of them are by submission. He also has 4 losses by submission. He is 33 years old on a 4-fight win streak. Like I said, he is a UFC newcomer, so it is his first fight in the UFC. You know anything about Jason High, my man?
I know a little bit. He trains at ATC. Good wrestling, good top control, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, prefers chokes, and what more do you need to know?
Yeah, with his chokes, actually all 8 submission wins, all of them are either by guillotine or rear naked choke, actually. I'm going to go with Jason High to win this one, though. How about you?
I'm going with Anthony Lapsley.
Okay. Next fight after that, Von Lee fights UFC lightweight champions Anthony Pettis' brother, Sergio Pettis. Sergio Pettis, 9-0 undefeated record. He is one of the hottest prospects out there in MMA right now. 20 years old. And he's 3 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub, training out of Rufus Sports. Really good kickboxer, accurate punches and strikes, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The only thing knock against him, it's his first fight in the UFC. Von Lee, not the greatest record, 13-9 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO and 6 losses by sub. 31 years old. Got some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here. I gotta go Sergio Pettis to win this one, though, man. This guy, future champion in the making. What about you, man?
I'll go with Sergio Pettis too. That stuff sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And finally, Cody Donovan fights John Vellante. Not much to say here. Donovan, 8-3 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. All 3 of the losses are by KO or TKO. He just got pounded out by OSP in his last fight. 32 years old, training out of Grudge. John Vellante, 10-4 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. He's 28 years old. Good kickboxer. His wrestling's improving. I believe he trains with Chris Weidman at times. I'll go with John Vellante to win this one. How about you, man?
Go with Cody Donovan.
Okay, you want a recap, man?
Let's recap.
Okay, on the main card, we got George St-Pierre versus Johny Hendricks. I got George St-Pierre.
I got Johny Hendricks.
Okay, Rashad Evans fights Chael Sonnen. I got Rashad Evans.
I got Rashad Evans.
Okay, Rory MacDonald versus Robbie Lawler. I got Rory MacDonald.
I got Rory MacDonald.
Okay, Josh Koscheck versus Tyron Woodley. I got Tyron Woodley.
I got Josh Koscheck.
And Ali Bagautinov fights Timothy Elliott. I got Ali Bagautinov.
I've got Timothy Elliott.
Okay, on the Fox Sports 1 prelims, Donald Cerrone fights Evan Dunham. I'll go with Donald Cerrone to win this one.
I'm going with Cowboy.
Okay, Thales Leites fights Ed Herman. I got Thales Leites.
I'm going with Thales.
Okay, Brian Ebersole versus Rick Story. I'm going with Rick Story.
I'm going with Brian Ebersole.
Okay, Erik Perez fights Edwin Figueroa. I think that Erik Perez will win this one.
I'm going with Edwin Figueroa.
Okay, on to the other prelims, which are the Facebook prelims. Jason High fights Anthony Lapsley. I'll go with Jason High.
I'm going with Anthony Lapsley.
Okay, Von Lee versus Sergio Pettis. I think Sergio Pettis takes this one.
I'm going with Sergio Pettis.
And finally, Cody Donovan fights John Vellante. I'll go with John Vellante to win this one.
Going with Cody Donovan.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for our predictions for UFC 167, St-Pierre versus Hendricks, which happens on November 16th. We'd also like to plug Q's Lounge once again.
There you go, Rexy. Don't say that I'm not working. we never charge a cover though, so I think that's important. You know, like
Yeah.
that's I mean, just swing by and you know, there's no pressure. Just check out the fights, and you know, if you recognize me, you can buy me a beer or whatever.
Yeah, man. If you need to know the address for the place, it's 15380 Beach Boulevard, Westminster, California, 92683, man.
And I got one other shout out. My friend in Australia, he owns a urban street clothing apparel company. It's called The Excused. Hopefully, I'll be getting some of the gear soon, so I can sport it on the show. I'm waiting for my snapback right now. And yeah, so shout out to Pat Lego and Rexy and Q's Lounge, and yeah, dude, GSP versus Hendricks. This is gonna be an awesome fight. So, you know, I highly recommend you know, coming out and checking this out. Hopefully, GSP gets knocked out.
Okay, so yeah, if you guys have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.